Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? Edgemon Cinejob coming to you guys today with another deck tech. Today we are taking a look at another standard build, and it is also going to be a budget build as well. So, I noticed that a lot of you guys were really interested in seeing budget builds, so I decided to put another one together. So, this one is going to be Mono Black Exalted Aggro. This is also going to be a post Scars rotation friendly deck, so we're using stuff from M13, Innistrad, and Dark Ascension, so none of this stuff is going to rotate whenever Scars of Mirrodin block and M12 rotate out of standard, so you guys don't have to worry about that as far as standard play goes for the next, well, a while. But before we get to taking a look at the deck, if you guys have any suggestions for decks that you would like to see, please leave it in the comments below and I'll take it into consideration for future deck techs. So the first thing that we're going to be taking a look at here is the mana base, and the first card that we have is Cathedral of War. So this is probably the most expensive card in the deck, and we run 3 of them. So enters the battlefield tapped, it has Exalted, and adds 1 generic mana to your mana pool. So the great thing about Exalted is it's going to buff up our creatures if they attack alone, which we have a lot of cool and interesting cards that can attack alone and are effective with Exalted. So we run 3 of these. I didn't want to run a playset just because it pollutes the mana base a little bit more. The generic mana isn't always the optimal mana that you want to get, obviously, because it's a mono black deck and it runs a lot of dual color or dual black casting cost. But all in all, the running 3 of them still isn't going to mess up the mana base way too much, is what I'm trying to get at. So we're running 3 Cathedral of War, and the rest of the mana that we have producing, the rest of the lands, are just swamps. So we have 18 of them, so we're running 21 lands. So I'll just kind of break these off so you guys can see them. But you can take my word for it, it's 18. But pretty straightforward mana base. We don't have a lot of high cost stuff. Our most expensive card in the deck is 4 mana, so we really don't need a lot of lands whenever it comes to this deck. We don't have to have a lot to make it work. But now we're going to take a look at pretty much everything else in the deck. So we have Duty Bound Dead as our 1-drop here. So if I can get some focus, there we go. So 0-2 for 1 black Exalted, and for 4 mana, 3 generic and 1 black, you can regenerate him, making him awesome against certain aggro builds. The Exalted is just great. Makes him a really huge contender for making other creatures bigger, but the best thing about him is you can regenerate him, so it's never bad to have him as a blocker for ground creatures. So we run 4 Duty Bound Dead. So put him off to the side here. Next we have Knight of Infamy, so 2-1 for 2 mana, protection from white and Exalted. So whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. So he's essentially a 3-2 if he's the one swinging, unless you have more Exalted, then he gets bigger. But Exalted's a really cool mechanic, and it's really awesome to just see Exalted keep on stacking and making that one creature a lot bigger. Next we have Highborn Gould, so a great creature to swing in alone and get all of the Exalted to trigger on him. He has Intimidate, so he can't be blocked by artifact creatures and or creatures that share a color with him, so black creatures mainly. He is double black, so if you have like Cathedral of War, it's going to make it a little bit harder to cast. But all in all, the Intimidate is what makes him really nice in this deck and worth playing. But we're running 3 of him, so we'll put him off to the side here. Next we have Vampire Nighthawk, everybody's favorite. So 2-3 for 3 mana, 1 generic and double black. Flying, Death Touch, and Lifelink. The Lifelink makes him just really awesome, but Death Touch and Lifelink is just so overpowered in flying. But again, another great creature that you can stack the Exalted onto and have him just be a powerhouse creature. So 4 Vampire Nighthawks, as you guys could imagine. Then we have Servant of Nefarox, so 3-1 for 3 mana. He dies a little bit easier, I guess, but also another Exalted creature. So great 3-drop as well. I would probably prefer the Nighthawk over the Servant to drop turn 3, but either way, the Servant is definitely really nice creature, and it's another Exalted that you have, even if another creature is attacking alone. So 4 of the Servants. Then we have Liliana Shade, so our 4-drop here. So it's a 1/1, it's a measly creature, but whenever she enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a swamp card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So it is going to weed out your deck for more lands, so you don't have to keep on drawing into them. It's going to make it less likely. And also, for 1 black, she can get +1/+1 until the end of the turn, so you can use that as many times as you have mana available. And she can become pretty big pretty quick, so whether it's to swing in, or if she's a blocker, or if she's trying to survive Slagstorm or Bonfire of the Damned or something like that. So definitely really nice. So we're running 3 Liliana Shade. And then we're getting to our non-creature spells. So we have Murder. So destroy target creature for 3 mana, 1 generic, and double black. So it doesn't have any bias like Go for the Throat or Doomblade, but Murder is definitely really nice because we are running a monocolored deck, so it shouldn't really be a problem unless we get like Cathedral of War. But that doesn't happen too often, not when you're running 3, just 3 of them. You usually get more lands that are appropriate, so you usually get more swamps, so it's not a problem. But play set of Murder. Then we have Skeletal Grimace, probably one of the most underrated cheap commons when it comes to Innistrad. This card is just crazy for 2 mana. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has for 1 black regenerate this creature. So your creature is going to be just really hard to get rid of unless your opponent drops Terminus or manages to reduce its power and toughness down to 0. I dropped that one, but Skeletal Grimace is really nice against like burn type decks and stuff like that. But all in all, we're running a playset just because it makes our creatures harder to get rid of, makes them really rigid and really good against other aggro builds. It's just being able to regenerate just for 1 black mana is incredible in this deck, and it just makes it really annoying. So, playset of Skeletal Grimace. We have Dark Favor, so it enchants creature, and whenever it enters the battlefield, you lose 1 life, which isn't really that big of a deal. But enchanted creature gets +3/+1, and for 2 mana, that's just great, especially when we have Exalted going off too. It makes creatures really big and a really huge threat. So, we are running a playset of Dark Favor as well. Then we have Sign in Blood, so we're running 2 Sign in Blood. So for double black, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. So the great thing about this is just being able to draw more cards. You lose 2 life if you target yourself. You could also target it on your opponent and then swing in for the kill if it's a matter of like 2 life or 1 life or something like that. But drawing cards is really nice, and it's nice to always have a outlet for it, even if we are playing off colors and we're not playing like blue, because blue is iconic for being able to draw. But Sign in Blood's definitely really nice, so we're running 2 of these. We don't necessarily like need a lot of them, but it's definitely nice to have something that we can draw more off of. And the last card that we have in here is Undying Evil. So we're running 3 of these. And target creature gains Undying until the end of the turn. So if it looks like one of your creatures is going to die, you can give it Undying for 1 black mana. And it's going to come back with a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's pretty much like it didn't even die, and it gets bigger. So that's the great thing about Undying Evil. I just absolutely love playing it in black decks and in homebrews and stuff like that. But Undying Evil is awesome for this deck, because even if your opponent has something that can get rid of your creatures, they really can't get rid of your creatures if you have Undying Evil. So, awesome card to have, definitely. So, 3 of those. And that pretty much sums up this mono black Exalted aggro deck. So, the entire deck list is down below for you guys to check out. If you enjoyed this deck tech and you would like to see more budget builds or deck techs in general, please give this video a thumbs up. Remember, if you have any suggestions for decks that you'd like to see, please leave them in the comments below. And like I said, remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more daily Magic the Gathering content. Until next time, guys, have a wonderful, fun-filled Magic the Gathering day.